Hello, and thank you for your interest in our advertising management software. Today we will start to explore the main features of the program. We will learn how to create a database of your advertising inventory. Then we will talk about those who you are going to sell it to and how they are represented in the program. And we will make some advertising placements to see how selling is performed in the software. On launching the program, you will see this starting window. Its layout is completely customizable, but we will talk about how you can customize it a little later. So, in order to start working with the program, first of all, we need to create advertising inventory database. To do this, we will go to advertising inventory section and we will go through the first three catalogs here. The first one is advertising channels. Advertising channels mean some large categories into which you can divide all your advertising inventory. As you can see, the main channel is already created here. You can create new advertising channels by clicking Create button. We recommend to create channels for some large-scale geographical divisions of your advertising inventory. For example, for dividing them into the ones located in the city and those located in the countryside. Or you can divide them by different cities or by cities and traffic directions. Some users use channels in order to divide their own advertising constructions and the rented ones. If you don't know how to divide your advertising inventory into channels yet, you can use this single main channel for the time being. It will be enough. So let's see the profile of the channel and what parameters do we need to enter there. First of all, we will need to enter the name. Sometimes in some profiles, names are filled in automatically according to some preset naming rules that exist in the program, but this is not the case here. We will need to enter some name here. The next field is type of medium. We will select advertising construction here, which stands for some static advertising constructions such as billboards, Prisma visions, city formats, scrollers, and so on. If you have a video screen, you will need to create a separate channel for it. The next field is city. It's optional and we will leave it empty. And the last two parameters are service naming rules. These are the rules according to which the program will automatically create names of advertising services and installation services and paste them into invoices and statements. So these are the main parameters that we need to fill in the advertising channel profile. All the other parameters are optional and you can leave them empty for now. Let's save and close it. So let's move on. Let's move on to the types of advertising spaces. Before creating advertising space profiles in the program, we need to set up these types. So here in this catalog, you need to list all the types of advertising spaces that you use. Let's see the profile. As you can see, there are quite a lot of fields that we need to fill in. The first one is the name. The next one, type of medium. We will also select advertising construction here, which stands for static constructions, such as billboards, Prisma visions, and city formats. The next field is method. We will select fixed here. Fixed means that the quantity of spaces where some advertising material can be placed is fixed. So you can only place one advertising material in this advertising space at one time. This space cannot be divided, for example, into two smaller parts, and two advertising materials cannot be placed there at the same time. The next parameter is pricing. Please always select by standard pricing period here. Main type of material we will leave empty. And the next field is size. This field is very important, and you need to fill it in correctly, because the program will use this size in order to monitor the sizes of advertising materials that you will place into the spaces of this type. So it won't let you place some advertising material of unsuitable size in the advertising space of this type. So let's try to create a new advertising space type by clicking Create button. The name will be city format. It is an advertising construction. Size. Let's see the sizes. We don't have a suitable size here, so we'll create a new one. Here, the name, as you can see, is filled in automatically. We just need to fill in all the other fields, and the name will be created by the program automatically. Save and close. And the last parameter is advertising space naming rule. We can select the rule that already exists here, or we can create a new one. Let's create a new one, a new naming rule that will be comprised only of location address and site. Here the name is also filled in automatically. Location address and the site. And we will select it. Here we created a new advertising space type. Now we can move on to creating advertising space profiles. So let's go to the advertising spaces catalog. Advertising space is a surface of the advertising construction where you can place some advertising material. For example, each city format has two sites, A and B sites, so we will need to create a profile for each of these sites. So let's start. Click Create button, and this is the profile of our advertising space. Let's fill it in from top to bottom. As you can see, the name is filled in automatically here. So let's move on to the next field, location address. So for example, will be this address. The next field, group. Group means some folder that you can create in the catalog of advertising spaces. We recommend not to create these folders unless you really need them. So I will leave this field empty. The next field, advertising space type. Let's select city format. And as you can see, on selecting the type, the name and the size of the advertising space were filled in automatically, according to the data that we have filled in the advertising space type profile. So let's select the site. Add space number is some optional number that you can use for tracking down your advertising spaces. And the code here, it will be created and filled in automatically on saving the profile. But we can't save the profile right now because you see there are two fields marked with red which are mandatory for filling. So let's fill them in. Placement channel and installation date. Installation date is the date from which we can start selling placements in this advertising space. So let's fill it in. So now we can save our profile. As you can see, right now some tabs here are disabled. but once we save the profile, they will be enabled. Let's mark that our ad space has lighting. If necessary, you can also enter city, district, coordinates, price group, and any other parameters here. They are optional, so I will leave them empty for now. If you need another parameter for your advertising space, you can click New Attribute and create your own parameter to be added to this advertising space profile. In the next tab, in the Images tab, we can add some photos of our advertising space or some maps and schemes. The quantity of images that you can attach to the advertising space profile is unlimited. So, for example, let's select these two images, not a city format, but it's okay for now. The next tab will contain the prices for placing advertising materials in this advertising space. The prices are not entered in the profile directly, but in a separate document, which we can create by clicking Add button. First of all, we need to enter valid from date and select price type. Price type is a type of price list that you use in your work. For example, a price list for your customers, a price list for VIP customers, a retail price list or wholesale price lists, like this. For now, we will select the main price list defined in the program. So let's fill in our document. This is the city format that we have just created, and the price will be, for example, $100 per month. So let's post and close it. And as you can see, the information about prices is displayed here in our advertising space profile. Once again, the prices are not entered in this catalog, in this profile, but in a separate pricing document. To change the prices, you can click Edit button, and this pricing document will be opened again, and you can make any changes that you need. For example, let's change the price to, I don't know, $90, like this. Prices for printing and installation prices are created in the same way. So let's save our profile and continue filling in our advertising space database. Let's create a new advertising space by copying, by clicking this button. So we copied the profile that we have just filled in, so all the data here, all the parameters are the same. We will just change the site from A to B, and we will change the number. We will also select an image. And a map. In the placement prices tab, we can add the prices the way that we did with the first advertising space profile, but it wouldn't be quite right. Actually, creating pricing documents in advertising space profile is not really correct, and it is better to create it in a different way. So let's go back to the main menu. and to the pricing section. Here we have advertisement placement pricing. Here is the document that we have just created for our first advertising space. Let's open it and add the price for the B side here to this document. Let's click the button create by copying. Select the B side and enter the price. Post and close. So now the price is also displayed here in our advertising space profile. So this is how the advertising space database is created. It can also be loaded from an Excel file, but for better understanding of how the program works, we recommend you to fill in several advertising spaces manually, just the way we did right now. So let's see the results of what we have done. Let's go to sales section and to media planning. Media plan is your main working tool. Here you will make all your advertising placements. So as you can see here are the two advertising spaces that we have just created. But before making placements here in the media plan, we will need to add the information about those who we are going to sell our placements to.